different ways that we can rearrange statements. So they are all going to be in conditional format, which is usually if then is usually how we write it, but we'll look at a few different ways to write it. So at the top it says our statement, our starting place is if P then Q. What a converse does is it reverses the two positions. So if Q then P. Just because a statement is true does not necessarily mean that its converse is true. Turning those around does not necessarily maintain the truth of the statement. An inverse negates both parts but maintains the original order. So not P, then not Q. A contrapositive makes both of those changes. So it switches the order and it negates both pieces. A contrapositive will match a statement in its truth. So if a statement is true, the contrapositive will be true. If a statement is false, the contrapositive will be false. The other ones, maybe, maybe not. But the statement and the contrapositive are what we call logically equivalent. Like if we would make truth tables on those, they would be the same truth table. So those two are logically equivalent, the other two not necessarily. So, the next one says, given the statement, if a number ends in 5, it's divisible by 5. Write the converse, inverse, and contrapositive in words. We're not going to do that. And which statements are true. So we can start by just saying, is the original statement true or false? If a number ends in 5, is it divisible by 5?
True.
Yeah, so the original statement is true. So what we want to do is write the other ones. The converse. A converse switches the order. So it would say, if a number is divisible by 5, then it ends in 5.
False.
And that is false. We call it a counterexample, what we would use to show that it's false. So what would be an example that would show that that doesn't work? 20. Right? 20 divides by 5, but it doesn't end in 5. The inverse maintains the original order of the statement, but puts a not in with them. So if a number doesn't end in 5, then it doesn't divide by 5. True or false?
That's false.
That is false as well. A number that doesn't end in 5 but still does divide by 5
20.
would be like 20 again. So that statement is false. Just as I said the contrapositive and the statement will be the same, the converse and the inverse will be the same. So we kind of end up with two pairs. It could work that all 4 are the same, but we will at least have 2 pairs. And then the contrapositive makes both changes. So it would say if a number isn't divisible by 5, then it doesn't end in 5. And we said since our statement is true, that has to be true as well. Once we get a lot of nots in there, sometimes it can be hard to decide if it's true or false, but remembering that a contrapositive and a statement always have to be the same can help us out with that.
Wait, why is that true? Because it has to be true?
If a number isn't divisible by 5, so I would have to start by saying, thinking of numbers that don't divide by 5. So like 7, there's no way that could end in 5.
Okay, sorry, I had to figure that out.
But it is tricky with all the isn'ts and doesn't and stuff in there, so just remembering that we have those pairs can help us decide if we have trues or falses.
Is this another lesson? I'm back.
Yeah, the back is another lesson, but the bottom is still this.
Okay.
So we'll scroll down and finish this out.
Do we have a lesson due on Monday?
Yep, the homework will be due on Monday. So in a statement, P is called the antecedent and Q is called the consequent. Or in geometry, we use the words hypothesis and conclusion. So in these, I said determine the antecedent, and we'll just circle those, and the consequent, and we'll underline those. If a person is over 6'6", the if is the hypothesis or the antecedent, the then is the conclusion or the consequent.
So for like on the homework, it says, like if you do, you are my friends, if you do what I command, wouldn't if you do what I command be the hypothesis?
Yeah, so we have to be careful with the order of it. In the standard if-then statement, it's going to go antecedent, consequent.
Okay.
But
Oh, shit.
if the statement is written in some form other than if-then, we have to be careful about the positions of those. So like the next one, being tall is necessary for being over 6'6". Being over 6'6" is actually the antecedent, and tall is the consequent. So the keyword in that one is necessary. So watch out for the word necessary in one and know that then they go backwards.
So the next one, a person is over 6'6" is the antecedent?
No, it's have
A
No,
person over
if a person-
6'6" is again the antecedent, and tall is the consequent in that one.
But it says if the person is tall.
It says
Oh, that's
only if, so our keyword only if in the middle will maintain original order.
I actually circled like if and then and underlined that, like the actual word and the statement. It's so simple.
The next one, 6'6" is going to again be our antecedent, and tall is going to be our consequent. So in that one we've got the keyword is sufficient, and that maintained the original order. The next one has just the word if in the middle of it. So this is like the one that Nate asked about, where if it's solely the word if in the middle, that does switch the order of them. So unlike number 3 that had only if in the middle, that kept the same original order. If it's solely the word if in the middle, they're going to come backwards. The last one has the key phrase in the middle, if and only if. And what kind of a statement did we say was if and only if? It had a special name. The double arrow in our logic symbols.
Is it?
I don't actually know. Oh yeah, it was in the very first notes, the bottom of the chart, the double arrow.
I don't know how to say that.
Biconditional. So what a biconditional statement means is that it actually works forward and backward. So in this one, they are actually both antecedent and consequent.
So you circle and underline.
So what an if and only if statement does is it really combines like number 3 and number 5, where we had if and then the other one said only if. It's kind of squishing those two sentences together to make one sentence saying if and only if. So watch out for the word necessary, and when it's just solely the word if in the middle of the statement, those ones come backwards. Otherwise, they'll be coming in the order antecedent, consequent.